I'm not used to using a mic, it's just gonna fuck it up anyway. Yeah, I don't. It's in my way. Like,
Yeah, it is.
This is my second time ever doing a slam. My first time was the sacrifice of London and all that shit. So like, this is my second time. There's no rules, and I was like, there's no. I actually like. I'm going to pretext this with the fact that like I've never been in a situation where like, hey, we would like you to express yourself without any rules. And in thus doing so and showing me slam, I've obviously adopted a slam approach to sort of how I'm going to express myself, just because that's the environment. But like, you know, I'm here and I'm willing to do that without any rules. I can't fucking work with like a list that's going to like criteria, set that shit up, but I'm talking about that now, I'm rambling. What I wanted to talk to you about is colonialism, obviously, because I'm First Nation, blah, blah, blah. But like, I also wanted to talk about Joan of Arc. Where the fuck did that come from, you might ask? Well, I'm about to tell you, pretty much like, Joan of Arc is a wonderful example of how we've been continuing to vilify our heroes of the past who get canonized years after we've already put them to the fucking torch for doing nothing. And pretty much just doing that, like we've done it with essentially Snowden, up to the thousands of refugees that are trying to like access Canada's resources because we're safe. Like what the fuck? So you've got Joan of Arc. She's this French girl. She's about 18 years old. She's hanging out on a farm. You know, I don't know enough about her life story to tell you exactly what she was doing, how she was farming the land, but I can tell you a little bit about the society she was in, and that's like a society where like, essentially we were living like we were now. We were living in a way where you are spending day after day just working on stuff that has nothing to do with your dreams. And you're essentially doing it for a lord who gives no shits about you, or maybe like a manager. They're not going to treat you the way that you ought to be treated, and you're still going to get paid piddly dicks that isn't enough for like a place larger than probably like what is it, a hectare? I don't even know what that means. I think it's like a third of an acre. I don't know what that means either. Like I can't I guess it's this room. But anyway, like they're hanging out on the farm, and like France is being colonial as usual. So they're pretty upset that they can't live in a regular way. They're just trying to access their community's resources. They're being stopped by the French government. And so like, she revolts. And she has vision. She's been hearing voices in her head. And that's how it's going to be like shown to you guys. Like she was some crazy bitch that is just out of fucking nowhere trying to like stop tyranny that's not happening. But it's happening. Like it's actually happening. If she's hearing that voice in the back of her head, I'll tell you what that's probably like for her. She's probably like sitting there in front of the altar, having a vision, because like, have you ever seen stained glass in a church? And I mean that in both like a comical but like a beautiful way. Christianity may be fucked up as hell, but like you go into their churches and it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
So, you know, she's probably having like an actual experience where she's learning something about her soul and about like where people need to go. And she takes that vision and she applies it to leading people. And sure, it's an open revolt against the government. And sure, she's hearing voices in the back of her head. But she's an 18-year-old female general who mobilized like tens of thousands of French troops to like fuck up their government. And now I'm going to just jump out of character slightly and be like, sometimes they like to point fingers at natives who are like bending to colonial law. Like maybe they're making a deal for their like people and they're getting money for it. You know, to take their people who are essentially almost all in poverty out of poverty because we're on reserve land that we never chose to begin with. But anyway, that's why I don't jump out of character. Jumping back into character. Got to do a thing. Jumping back into character. So Joan of Arc, she's essentially going in open revolt, and there's these Burgundians, and they've been around like France for like quite a long time, and they actually turn on Joan of Arc with the government, and they're native to the land. Like it happens. These things happen. That's what colonial powers do. They subvert other governments to fight for them. So why are you pointing the finger blaming when that's the colonial government doing exactly what it needs to do? Like, it's effective, and that's what we need to look at. The fact that it's really effective. Because when Joan of Arc actually came up on the fucking Capitol, though correct me if I'm wrong, because maybe I just got like delusions of grandeur myself. But she came up there and she was stabbed in the back by people who were in France. Because that's how colonialism works. Burgundians gave away her position, and she was captured, and then she was executed. It took 25 years for them to canonize her. And sure, in history, that's a blink of an eye. But when like the printing press takes like 20 years to essentially tell an entire country that anything's happened, like 25 years, that's a really long time for them to go without realizing Joan of Arc just wanted to help the people and the community and the things you ought to do in life.